Ready to break free from boring basic chords without diving into the deep end of complex chord theory? Today I'm going to show you how to go beyond basic chords with two simple techniques that will instantly elevate your piano playing. And if you've been playing piano for a while, you might be feeling stuck with those same basic triads, but find seventh chords and advanced harmonies a little overwhelming. Well, don't worry, I've got the perfect middle ground that will make your playing sound more sophisticated right away. Let's talk about the challenges many piano players face. You start with simple chord progressions and move on to three-note chords. But when you try to move to seventh chords or more complex harmonies, your fingers might not cooperate, the stretch just feels awkward, or the sound is too muddy. The good news is that you don't need to play every note in a complex chord to capture its essence. In fact, keeping notes close together can often create a really cool sound when exploring different ways to play chords on the piano. I like to call this a lazy piano playing. Sort of like I like to think of every day as a cheat day and find ways to make indulgent foods a little healthier. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Rosemarie, online piano teacher and composer at Must Love Music. And if this is helpful, please consider subscribing. It means more than you know. Our first technique is using fourth interval chord bridges. So these create movement between chords with minimal effort. They're really great for basic chords for beginners who want to sound a little bit more advanced. Definitely learn the full chords and the inversions. By the way, if you haven't seen that video, just go ahead and check it out. What we can do, especially once we start having more complex rhythms, it can be a little hard to put everything together. So this doesn't work in root position, but any of the inversions, you could actually just play, in this case, B flat major, the F and B flat. It creates a really cool sound, and it makes it a lot easier when it comes to those rhythms. And it's especially helpful when you're learning to play chord progressions on the piano with a smooth professional sound, again, once those rhythms get complex. And it's also one of the different types of chords in keyboard playing that creates that distinctive jazz flavor when we're looking at seventh chords. And we'll look at those in a moment. The second technique is using three-note clusters. Instead of playing a full B flat major seventh chord like this, you could try playing it with just these three notes. Hear how it kind of captures that jazzy feeling without requiring a big stretch like the first one did. So this is actually one of the best ways to learn chords on the piano that sound advanced without all the technical difficulty. And these clusters are perfect for those looking for how to make chords sound better on the piano, as they create a richness while keeping your hand relaxed and note close together. Looking for piano lessons that spark creativity and musical exploration? Discover a different approach to learning piano. At Must Love Music, piano lessons are designed to unleash your improvisational skills from your very first lesson. Embrace your unique thinking style through personalized learning methods, and develop musical abilities through engaging activities that make learning feel like play. With extensive experience teaching neurodiverse students, our studio creates a supportive space where everyone can explore music at their own pace and in their own way. The rhythmic patterns of Latin jazz featured in these videos showcase the kind of musical exploration you'll experience in every lesson. Visit mustlovemusic.ca to see how this personalized approach can bring music to life for you. Book your free meet and greet and find the perfect program for your musical journey. Let's try a little improvisation together to practice these different types of piano chords. I'm going to play a simple left hand pattern, and you're going to try out these techniques in your right hand. So let's start off with a B flat major chord. I'm going to actually not play in root position. I'm going to go up into first inversion. If I wanted to add the seventh, doesn't that sound amazing? Try out the technique in your right hand after I've played the rhythm. So here's the rhythm. And in your right hand, you could play the full chord. Again, I'm going to just do it in an inversion, or you could play it in root position, depending on what you like. Now, what if we do a fourth inversion here? Not bad, hey? What if we do a G major chord? Play just the root. Actually, let's add that seventh in there. So I'm going to add the F. Again, try playing it with just the full chord. Or what if you do the inversion and the fourth? What if you did the seventh, which is the F, and the B flat? That sounds kind of cool, right? Okay, what if we now were moving through the piece or if we're using more chord? Those bridges create smooth transitions that sound much more professional than just jumping between chords, right? Let's try making these into a 3-note cluster. Okay, so our B flat major chord. I am going to play not all of the notes. The B flat here. That sounds kind of fun, right? In your right hand, you could play exactly the same thing, or you could maybe add that D. So that sounds pretty awesome. Or even with that G minor, the 7th, what if I move here you go. And I'm going to play just a G minor chord in the right hand. All of a sudden, I'm adding a little bit of a jazziness to it, and it's much more interesting having the notes a little bit closer together versus everything spread out. So for those learning how to play piano chords with rhythm, these compact clusters make it much easier to stay in time and maintain a consistent flow because you're not jumping all over the place, right? You're just making small changes. So this is ideal for anyone exploring chords on keyboard as a late beginner but wanting to sound more advanced. Here's an example of what it sounds like in Un baile pequeño. And as always, the sheet music is for sale on my website. And that was just a very small part. I wanted the chords to, instead of being really spread out on the piano, which still sounds great, I wanted them close together so that all you're doing is, if you noticed, just shifting hand position a little bit. Try experimenting with these techniques in different keys, different chords, and don't worry about getting it perfect. Just have fun exploring. Which of these chord techniques will you try first? The 3-note clusters or the 4th interval chord bridges? Drop a comment below to let me know, and don't forget to hit that like button if you're excited to try these out. Remember, piano playing isn't about mastering the most complex techniques. It's about finding creative ways to express yourself through sound. And these different ways to play chords on the piano are just tools in your musical toolbox that you can use whenever you want to add some spice to your playing. Check out my jazz-inspired Latin Foundations playlist for more pieces that use these techniques to create authentic Latin jazz sounds without advanced technical requirements. Each piece introduces a new concept that will help you sound more professional with minimal effort. Thanks and happy playing.